あれ、付き合ってください。
あなたのような方を待っていたの。よろしくね。
Sid Kagano was just an ordinary boy with a hero's heart, until a fateful accident sent him to a world of magic. Now, with his vast knowledge of martial arts and training discipline, he rises as a power in the shadows, leading the members of Shadow Garden on a mission to stop the evil order of Diabolos and their diabolical plans. Will Sid become the hero he always looked up to, or will he fall to the dark side? Join him on a journey of discovery, power, and destiny in this thrilling tale of magic and mystery. We start off our first episode with Nishino Akane beginning her day by rising from bed and indulging in a refreshing shower. Afterwards, she sets herself ready for school. A personal driver awaits her, taking her to her educational institution where she is greeted by the majority of students. However, there lies one student, Kagano, whom she detests. Despite her animosity, Akane greets him and Kagano returns the favor, albeit calling her Nishimura. Akane immediately corrects him, but Kagano apologizes and explains that he hasn't been getting enough sleep, leading him to make such mistakes. Unfortunately, he then goes on to call her Nishitani, which only adds to Akane's frustration. She once again corrects him, revealing her true name, but Kagano persists, repeatedly calling her Nishimura as he walks away. Akane realizes that her disdain for Kagano is not solely based on his inability to remember her name, but also due to the fact that he never truly looks at her. Even when his gaze appears to be directed towards her, his eyes seem distant, as if they are focused on something far away. After school, Akane attempts to call her driver, but to her surprise, he doesn't answer the phone. Unfortunately, she later discovers that he was attacked by some men and unable to come pick her up. Consequently, Akane is left with no other option but to make her way home on foot, which is a daunting experience for her since she has not walked home since the traumatic incident that occurred in middle school. Along the way, Akane is suddenly abducted by the same men who had earlier beaten her driver. As she loses consciousness, she glimpses a figure of a man in her peripheral vision, which turns out to be Kagano approaching to rescue her. Later on, Akane discovers she is tied up in a warehouse, her kidnapper coldly informing her that the daughter of Nishino Zaibatsu should not be walking alone at night. Meanwhile, the other kidnapper casually mentions that she must stay put until the ransom is received. However, Kagano, disguised as a stylish ruffian slayer, is observing the situation from above. As the first kidnapper decides to have some twisted fun with Akane, he boasts about her previous kidnapping experience and notes that it was just from some stalker. Suddenly, Kagano crashes in through the roof window, ready for action. The kidnapper pulls out a gun, but Kagano swiftly throws a piece of glass, injuring his arm and disarming him. With quick reflexes, Kagano charges the man, throws him to the ground, and beats him into submission. However, the other kidnapper reveals himself to be a former military man, and the situation quickly escalates as he takes out a knife and attacks Kagano. The two engage in a brutal fight, with Kagano managing to disarm the man, but still being overpowered. Realizing he needs to get serious, Kagano decides to showcase the potential he has found in crowbars. As he fought against bikers, the man soon realizes he is the notorious Balaclava Berserker, known for his crowbar fights against the bikers. Kagano explains that when the bikers started wearing helmets, he had to switch from using crowbars as tonfa to regular clubs. In the end, Kagano overpowers the man, breaking his leg and beating him into submission. He then frees Akane and warns her to be more careful in the future. After calling the police, Akane's father uses his connections to keep the case from going public. The next day, Akane arrives at school and sees Kagano. She greets him and he returns the greeting, calling her by name, Nishino. Akane is taken aback, realizing that Kagano actually remembered her name. This leads her to believe that he too might be hiding behind a mask. The next morning, the news reports that Minoru Kagano was hit by a truck and didn't survive. Akane is heartbroken as word of Kagano's tragic accident spreads. Kagano always dreamed of being a hero, dedicating his time to training and honing his martial arts skills. However, despite his efforts, he felt like a background character at school and realized that his physical abilities were limited. He desired to surpass these limitations, to become a hero who could overcome any obstacle. Thus, when he was hit by a truck and reincarnated into another world, he wanted to fully grasp this opportunity to grow stronger. In his new life, Kagano forms an organization equipped with his newfound magical powers. His goal is to operate from the shadows, showing the world the greatness of his team, the Eminence in Shadow. Kagano is determined to be the one to lead his team to victory, to become the hero he always dreamed of being. What a quick turn of events! Before we move on to episode 2, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What is your favorite isekai anime? Comment down below and have a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. After dying in a car accident, Minoru Kagano is reborn as the son of Baron Kagano, a powerful aristocrat living in the countryside. Quickly adapting to his new surroundings, Sid senses the presence of magic. The Kagano family specializes in creating dark knights, who can harness their abilities with the power of magic. They have high hopes for Claire, Sid's talented older sister. Despite his background as a secondary character, Sid leads a double life as a vigilante, hunting bandits with his slime sword and taking their wealth. One night, Sid discovers a caged creature, suffering from a magical overload. Intrigued, he takes the creature home and spends a month experimenting on it. Eventually, he manages to contain the magical energy, and the creature transforms into a young, beautiful elf. Sid puts on an act, telling her that he broke the curse put on her by the demon Diablos. He explains that the cult of Diablos is planning to revive the demon, and Sid works to stop them in the shadows. Introducing himself as Shadow, the Hunter of Shadows, he asks Alpha to join him in expanding their organization, Shadow Garden. With nothing left to lose, Alpha agrees and they set out to find more heroes' descendants and save the world from the threat of Diablos. Years pass and Sid is now 13. He practices with his sister Claire, but feigns weakness to keep her confidence high. When Claire departs for the Midgar Academy, she mysteriously vanishes. Sid learns from Beta that she's been kidnapped by the cult of Diablos, who believe she's a hero's descendant. With Alpha's help, they discover a secret hideout where Claire is being held by Viscount Grease. Despite her shackled state, Claire manages to break free and threatens to kill Grease if he harms her brother. However, Grease knocks her out just as intruders enter the hideout. The Seven Shadows effortlessly decimate Grease's men. Alpha announces that they are Shadow Garden, with the mission to eradicate the cult of Diablos. Grease is stunned that they know the name and its secrets and tries to attack Alpha, but she blocks his blows and injures him, saying she won't kill him until she gets answers. Overpowered, Grease takes a magic-boosting pill and pushes away Alpha, breaking the floor and fleeing. Alpha tells the girls there is no need to chase him, as Shadow is already on his tail. While searching the tunnels, Shadow encounters Grease. He easily blocks Grease's attacks and offers to teach him how to use his magic. After blocking his attacks, Shadow cuts down Grease with a large amount of magic. Grease falls, realizing he was powerless against the darkness, but maybe not against Shadow. The following day, Claire returns home with wounds that heal overnight, then heads to the academy. Sid eagerly awaits his turn to attend the academy, but Alpha announces it's time for them to leave, leaving Sid stunned. At the start of episode 3, Alpha informs Sid that the cult of Diablos is a massive worldwide organization that they must defeat. Although Sid feels this is just Alpha's way of saying that they want their freedom and to no longer play the fighting the cult game, they must split up to effectively battle the cult. As Sid begins his academy life in Midgar Kingdom, he befriends Skel Ital and Po Tato, other low-status nobles like himself. Skell and Poe remind Sid that as he scored the lowest on a test, his penalty is to confess to the most popular girl in school and face rejection. Upon arriving at school, Sid sees Princess Alexia Midgar reject another confession. Excited for the opportunity, Sid nervously confesses to Alexia that evening, only to be stunned when she accepts, stating she was waiting for someone like him. Rumors of Sid's exceptional abilities spread fast, prompting students to question who he is and what makes him so special. Skell and Poe speculate that if Alexia, a lower noble, accepted Sid, they might have a shot too. To their surprise, Alexia joins them for lunch in the lower nobility section. Sid tries to push her away by happily eating her excess food, but she reveals she's heard of his fencing skills and wants to practice with him. Despite being in the lowest section, Alexia uses her influence to get him into Section 1, where they train under advisor Xenon Griffey, the royal fencing instructor. During practice, Sid realizes Alexia's attacks are slow and lack magic, but her technique is solid. However, he finds it bland. After practice, Alexia confesses she hates her style as it feels like she's watching herself. Xenon informs them that their relationship won't change Alexia's betrothal, which is still a secret, causing Sid to understand the situation. After their conversation, Sid agrees to continue being Alexia's fake boyfriend. However, he is aware that the student body is focused on Alexia and not him, allowing him to be the background character. Despite this, Alexia continues to badmouth Xenon behind the scenes, but Sid chooses not to argue and simply agrees with her. Alexia explains that Xenon is too perfect and lacks flaws, which she finds suspicious. Sid also wonders why Alexia wants to end her engagement with Xenon, but decides not to ask too many questions, knowing that his role is simply to play along and not get involved in her problems. With a gold coin thrown by Alexia, Sid accepts the offer and continues with the act, hoping to maintain his low profile and keep his allowance for his own operation. How will Sid's relationship with Alexia change? Will he be able to take down the cult Diablos? Find out on our next recap of the Eminence in Shadow.